Episode 4, Hoopin with Christy Winter-Scott, Debbie Antonelli on the Her Hoop Stats podcast network. Christy, great to see you. How's it going, lady?
Oh my goodness, always a pleasure to see you. It's going great. It's going great right now. So yeah, having a great summer.
Okay, so since the last time we chatted, what have you been doing?
Well, our Mystics pregame live show won an Emmy on Saturday. Oh,
Awesome.
so it was quite a moment because we had back-to-back games with Dallas Saturday, Sunday. So yesterday, Monday, was my day to kind of breathe all that in. And it was just, I don't know, overwhelming, I will say. You know, I've been nominated before, but that was the first time to bring it home. So I felt like Al Horford a little bit, respectfully. Like you've been in it for a long time, and been nominated a couple times. And, they called our name and we were all jumping around, or maybe it was just me that was jumping around in my loobies, which I don't know how I was doing that without rolling an ankle, but yeah, that was a fun thing.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's great for you, great for the Mystics, great for the league, all of it.
And first time last year that we had the pre and post. So yeah, it was really a fun night with the whole team. Your team is what you always say, and it was a total team.
Yeah.
And it felt
that's
really
mine over here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
mine's still in the box, man. I gotta figure
Yeah.
out where.
It's pretty sweet. I've got two, and I'm really proud. They're team awards. They're always team awards, so it's really cool.
It's
neither one of mine came from ESPN, by the way. Mine was from CBS and from Fox. So maybe one day we'll make the big time at ESPN.
Get the trifecta going there with that.
Yeah. Okay, so just real quickly, zip lining has been in my recent past, and I was wondering if you had any zip lining experiences, because I was on a 3-hour tour. Those that know Gilligan's Island, I think it was longer than 3 hours. I would have been okay with 3 zip lines, but there were 10 and then 3 rappels, and I took my son Frankie, and I was with his roommate Tanner Smith, Tanner the famous Tanner from Love on the Spectrum. So it was an amazing day with those two guys. It was really fun.
Oh gosh! First of all, I do have zip lining experience. Unfortunately, I was on field trip with my daughter Bree, and she was in 6th grade, and I'm helping all the kids go down, hooking them in and everything, and then I'm still up there on the platform, and they were all yelling at me, "Mrs. Scott, just go!" And I'm like, "Oh my God!" I thought it took 5 minutes, but it could have been a little more than 5 minutes. But I screamed YOLO all the way down, and I made it without clipping my long legs on any of the trees. So that was good. But yeah, that was quite something. Did you take a long time to go, or you just went straight on down?
Oh no, I mean, I launched myself off the platform. I jumped off that thing. I was ready to go as fast as I could go.
You're good. I closed my eyes and screamed all the way down till I landed at the other end. It was horrible.
This was treetop to treetop. It's called the Gorge in North Carolina. I highly recommend it. It was really fun. So that's why I'm wearing this shirt, because zip lining was so much fun, being out there in the mountains from treetop to treetop with Tanner. Tanner is Frankie's roommate. So I want to include everyone. They did a great job on the zip lines. It was really fun. So that's why I'm wearing include everyone, period.
Oh, that's what it says. Leave it. Pull it up a little bit.
Include everyone, period. It's that easy.
Period.
It's that easy.
That easy. I love it.
All right. So side. All right. Let's get into some hoops. All right. Let's talk some hoops. I want to talk the Vegas Aces, Chelsea Gray back for 2 games. What's your impression been of them so far?
Yeah. First of all, welcome back to the point God, first of all. Now, I know if you look at her stats, Debbie, they're not gaudy by any stretch, right? But what her presence does on the floor, first of all, with the confidence, and not that they need it, but the confidence of having a steadying force and a leader on the court, I think that has changed in her 2 games back. But I also think, defenses have to honor what she is able to do. Whether she's scoring 20 and getting 10 assists or not, she has the ability to bust out and get all of that. So you have to honor and respect her presence on the floor. And I think that's been a big difference.
Yeah, her numbers right now in 2 games, you got to shake the rust off, right? So we're not going to get all worked up over 8 assists, 6 turnovers, and she's 1 for 8 from the floor. Forget about all that right now, right? I'm with you. Confidence is one thing, and it moves everyone back to their natural position. Now they're back in rotation the way Becky likes it, and I just think it's another scoring threat, and it's just great. I hate to see players get hurt because the season's so condensed this year, but I love seeing the ovation she got when she returned, the bright smile. I mean, Chelsea's got a huge smile, right? We know that. We know how much she loves it. I'm actually, I think I'm going to post this because I found it when I was going through looking for some stuff back in 2000. I think it was in 2009 or 10 when I did a little feature on her, and I happened to find it. I think I should repost it because it was when she got hurt playing in college and she came back. And when she came back, of course, she led Duke to the Sweet 16. I want to think that she's going to do some special things coming back from this injury as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Unfortunately, I was on the game when she was playing where she got hurt. I was with Hog, and we were on that game, and it was just it was a devastating moment. I believe we were at Clemson, I think.
I think that's right.
And it was horrible. And to see her that next year trying to get back into things, it was really special to see her fight and get her way back to the court. And now look at all the magnificent things she's done since then. So it's just been quite a journey, but I was actually on that game and I couldn't watch the replay back. They were like, we're going to show it again. And I just couldn't look at it. So it really had a devastating injury. That was not a common injury that she had with her knee there. And so I believe it was dislocated, right? And it was
a kneecap, maybe.
Kneecap, yeah. It was a rough one. And for her to just, warrior herself back to not only being able to play, but to dominate the way that she's been, it's just commendable for sure.
I think great reference of the Hog, Mike Hogwood, may he rest in peace, the guy we worked with for many years, you and I, through the ACC, through our years in that league, and a good reference to Raycom Sports too. Nice. Okay, so I got to tell you one Chelsea Gray story, and this is really great. I love that when I think of Chelsea and I see her, besides the feature that I did with her that I want to repost so everyone can see what I'm talking about, how smart she was, how smart she's always been as a point guard. But that 2010 Sweet 16 out in Sacramento, Duke was getting ready to play Stanford, and I was at practice. Stanford had practice going on. Heidi Vanderveer, Tara's sister, had a computer in front of her, and she had all this data in front of her. And I was like, what is that? What's that resource you're using? It's called Synergy. This is in 2010. Okay. So I'd never heard of it. I'm like, what is it? Explain it to me. So she explains it to me like this. It's a resource we use. It kind of breaks down everybody's plays. We, of course, use it now all the time. I love Synergy. I'm still using it. Okay. So, it was something that I think the NBA had been using and was a little bit ahead of the college game. But anyway, here's Coach Vanderveer, right? Tara's got the Synergy and Heidi's got her computer out and she's looking at this video on Chelsea. The bottom line is the breakdown was like this. Chelsea Gray, when she went to the right, she could hit a pull-up jump shot.
Right.
But when she went left, she could get to the rim, hit a pull-up jump shot, or make a play for somebody else. So Coach Vanderveer in this game, in the Sweet 16, is going to make Chelsea Gray, the right-hander, go right. So I said, you're going to make her go right. Everywhere on the floor, we're going to make her go right. What about on the left side of the floor? We're going to make her go to the middle. What about at the midline? We're going to overplay the midline. We're going to open up the middle of the lane. Let her go right. We're going to make her go right. The percentages are in our favor to make her go right. She's so good. That's how we're going to defend her. Well, I thought that was fascinating, right? This is new material for us. I've never had this before in our game. Right. So I go on the air, ESPN, and I cite basically word for word how they're going to guard her, and I describe it on the air. And actually, Duke lost, Stanford won. Stanford goes on to the Final Four, okay? The next day, I get a phone call, and it's from Brian from Synergy. Is this Debbie? Yes. This is Brian from Synergy. And I was like, how'd you get that information? And I thought, it was a pause where you go, oh no, am I in trouble? Or, oh no, am I going to get Tara in trouble? Or what about Heidi? Like, how's this going to work? So I decided, like always, tell the truth.
Yeah.
right? Tell the truth.
Okay.
So I said, well, I was at practice and I saw the computer and they told me what they're going to do. And I said it on the air and he said, okay, I was just wondering where you got it from. How would you like to have your own account? I was like, what? I got an account from Synergy since 2010, and they have graciously afforded me an opportunity to have it. So I've had that account since 2010. Here we are in 2024. I've almost had it, what's that, 25 years?
Oh my God. No. Yeah. Yeah.
No, 2010, 20, 14 years. Quick math, 14 years.
Yeah.
And that's because of Chelsea Gray.
Oh,
and I hope she hears this so she knows how appreciative I am, how grateful I am to have had this account for the longest time, and how good the Synergy guys are to me. So moving on.
Do you have any buddy accounts? Like, you know, guest pass for a week for me to.
I don't want to be giving out my code out here, you know.
No, we'll talk. You text it to me.
I'm grateful to those guys, and it's such a great resource, and I do use it all the time. All right, so do we think the Aces are back? Like, they had a little dip. They were 6-6. Chelsea's now made them 8-6 at the taping of this podcast. Where do you think they're sitting?
Man, first of all, like I said last time, Asia Wilson's putting up Shaq 2002 numbers across the board, like just dominating her ability to shoot the three. I mean, her midi is just like ridiculous. We know what she can do in the paint. It's baby food for every opponent. So for me, it's like, I don't know how you contain her. And I don't think anyone has been able to figure that out per se, with her numbers being as consistent as they are. But I do think that Vegas is back. I do think that Chelsea Gray's numbers are going to improve, right? As she, like you said, knocks the rust off. But I think that they have looked different on the defensive end as well. We're talking about the connectivity and the rhythm on offense. But I really think that defensively, they've looked more cohesive. And I think that's the dangerous side. I think the last two seasons where they've won titles, it's been their defensive prowess that has stood out, right? Going down to the even last play where Alicia Clark walled up Brianna Stewart, right? I think that has been their calling card, but we don't talk about that as much as we should, I think, as to what brings out the best in their team. And I think the last two games, we've really seen their defense stand up and stand on business.
Well, you know, I'm not going to talk about their defense because I think they can outscore everyone in the league. So I think their definitely stock is improving, and I see their numbers getting better. That little dip that they took, and a lot of it has a function to do with the timing of the schedule. Like Connecticut goes out west and they lose 2 games, right? So it's tough. Like, the travel definitely has a factor on the players when you're going from coast to coast.
Right.
All right. Let's talk about the All-Star game coming up. But before that, let's talk a little bit about the Indiana and Chicago, what is now being deemed this great rivalry, right? Indiana's up 2-1. Chicago won 88-87 in Chicago. What an incredible environment. Once again, you can just see Angel's game starting to evolve a little bit. I mean, her motor and her intensity and her drive is unquestioned, right? We've been watching that for a long time, but she's becoming more aggressive around the rim, even though her shot selection is just right around the paint.
Right.
How would you assess what you saw about Angel in the game the other day?
Well, when Chicago came here to DC to play, Angel Reese was discussing prior to the game that she has had conversations with Tina Charles, and Tina Charles has given her advice to slow down once she catches it. And she said that has kind of helped her in terms of making reads, like catching it and taking a peek and then seeing where to attack instead of like catch it and just attack right away. So I think you've seen more poise from her on the interior. And yes, she had those 16 rebounds, which was insane, but we know that about her, right? But yeah. Her ability to kind of take a breath, take a peek on the catch, I think has changed her entire skill set when it comes to post play. But I also think confidence too, right? Now you've played over maybe almost 15 games, and now you have an idea of what the WNBA feels like. And I think she's made that adjustment, and then where and when she can attack and how, right? With composure and poise. And I think that's been a major difference, but that game was ridiculous. And for Angel Reese to play the way that she did, not only that, but to maintain herself, right? And to stay out of foul trouble, to be on the floor at the end of the game when they needed those stops and scores from her. I thought that it was really great to see her mature right in front of our eyes, really.
Yeah, you can see she's starting to play with a lot more joy. Like she's keeping her focus where it needs to be. And that's good for our game because she does have a motor and she is, she's tough to guard one-on-one. I don't understand why people are letting her drive by them on the high post. They should just let her shoot it up there, right? Like just a little defensive fake jab at her or something, and make her go right. Don't let her just go off the bounce one dribble from the high post. That is really, that area of the floor, I think, is the hardest place to guard because if you have someone who can shoot it and drive it, then that's an unguardable spot on the floor to me. Angel right now is a driver, and if she took a shot from up there, you better box her out because she probably could go get it. I think she's just wired to play like that, and slowing down is great advice for her. That's really great. And isn't it kind of cool that Tina Charles is playing for Atlanta on another team in the same conference, yet she's mentoring a younger player trying to help out? I mean, I think that's the natural progression. It's what you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. And she said, Tina Charles gave free advice and she's going to take it. As long as she's going to get it, she's going to take it. So I thought that was really cute as well, the way she received it and, said that about Tina. So, yeah, I mean, that's what this league is. I mean, people are trying to, paint it as being petty and all this other stuff, but it is really a unified league when it comes to growing the game in the right way. And for Tina Charles to give that advice to Angel Reese and probably other players as well, and for her to utilize it. It's not like she heard it and went in one ear, out the other. It's like, no. And we've seen a change in her composure on the catch. So for Angel Reese to be afforded that level of advice from Tina Charles, who's won copious amounts of gold medals and titles at UConn, MVP in the WNBA as well along the way. I just think that that's such an invaluable piece of growth for the league and for the game as a whole. So yeah, really beautiful.
All-Star voting. It's always interesting. There's a fan component, obviously, and the fan component is the one that we all see right now. We don't know what coaches or what the internal, we don't know what the other votes are. I don't even know who gets to vote. I always say I never vote for anything because I never no one ever gives me a vote. I vote on Doug Feinberg's power poll. That's important. So yeah. If Doug asks me to do it, I'm doing it. But otherwise, what's your take on right now? Asia's first, Caitlin's second, Aaliyah Boston third. There was a double the vote over the weekend. So if you voted once, it counted twice. I think that really inflates the numbers. I kind of like that because it does show some raw data on how many people are interested in the players in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a percentage, Christy, not a percentage. The league puts out a lot of percentages.
Yeah.
But this is data. Like you can see what the fans think.
Yeah, flat out. And I love that too, right? We already saw the astronomical numbers yet again for a viewership of the Chicago-Indiana game. This past weekend, was it 3.3 million at the peak?
Yes.
Come on. So, I mean, we have a lot of eyes on the game for a reason, because it's an awesome game to watch. I mean, it was a 1-point game, that game. I mean, it came down to the last shot. Let's go. So you have to love the excitement of that. But fans are attaching themselves to these players as people, which is also fun because now we can storytell about who they are outside of their statistics. And there's this fandom now of who they are, not just as iconic, athletic professionals. They are strong, fierce women who have lives off the court that are just as fascinating. So I think that's what we're seeing now. And all the fan voting already, and the double the fan votes. I think the league is doing a great job of enticing and keeping the fans engaged with reminders of voting. But I think the All-Star game is going to be great. I think, with USA basketball going to battle against the WNBA All-Stars, we could see Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese on the same team. How intriguing would that be? They've never been able to play with each other. And I think that would be really something to tune in for as well.
Typically, an all-star game is just a demonstration of dunks and highlight reel kind of threes. But do you have a feeling that this game's going to be competitive? Like, I think there's some people that are on the other team, not the national team or Olympic team, that are going to really want to play. I think they're going to play.
Yeah, I think they're going to play from jump ball to buzzer. That thing is going to be a grind it out, just it. We're winning every possession. I think if there's a loose basketball, we're going to see bodies on the deck. We're going to see all of it. I think it's going to be highly competitive, and I think it's going to be super fun. And it's for the love of the game. And the fans are going to love it. I think it's going to be really awesome to be there in Phoenix right before the break for the Paris Olympics. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity to see some really fantastic basketball. And I think it's going to be competitive. No one's going to let anybody off the hook. No one's not going to rotate over, right? I think they're going to rotate. I think they're going to be playing straight up, and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to bring one topic forward about offense. You know, I love talking about offense. Her Hoop Stats has put together a really nice compilation of 3-point shooting in the league right now. And here's some numbers for you. So the league started in 97. 97 and 98 is the lowest average 3-point attempts in the league. So you take the teams, you average out their 3-point attempts, and it was like 12 and 11.8 respectively. Okay. Then it rose, it dipped in 2005 back down to 11.9. But since then, we have basically seen a steady climb. Right now, teams are averaging almost 23 3-point attempts per game. That is fun to watch when the ball moves and it doesn't get stuck, because in order to make that many threes or take that many, you got to move the ball, or you got to be playing with pace to play in transition, right? So to me, any teams that shoot it well, it's a direct derivative of being a good passing team and a good spacing team, because you can't have one or two without the other, to me.
Yeah.
Unless you're just going all one-on-one contested twos. It's not one-on-one contested threes. So you have to have those other components. What do you think about those numbers? And this year, last year and this year, New York is averaging the most 3-point attempts, just under 30.
Wow. I love it. I love it for the game. And, you know, I think analytics has changed the way I watch the game too, and what shots that I want to see. So there was an opportunity in the Mystics game where there was a drive. It could have gone all the way to the rim, but it got sprayed out to the corner, missed the shot. But I was like, yeah, I like that three being taken. And normally I'd be like, no, score in the paint, get in the trenches, get to the glass and finish at the rim. But I'm like, no, spray it out. Commit the defense, right? It's always draw two and see four, right? Draw two defenders, see your four teammates. And most typically they're outside the arc, right? So it's going to be commit the defense to the ball in the paint and spray that thing out. And I know here in Washington, I know they're shooting the ball really well from three, but I also know in the last 3 games, Debbie, they've had 26, 26, and 27 assists in the last 3 in a row. Yeah. And those aren't for threes, but they're creating those opportunities for great 3-point looks, right? Catch and shoots, wide open, or for the most part, wide open threes. So you got to go with the analytics there and let it fly.
It all goes together to me. It's how hard you run the floor, how wide you run it, the space that you operate in. You talk about, drags and middle ball screen action in the pick and roll game. And when you bring two, you have to be able to welcome two and be ready to make a play out of it. And I see the WNBA, that part of the skill set's getting better. The other part to me also, because that involves space and being in the right spots, a lot of slot threes. I wonder if there's more slot threes or more wing threes or more corner threes. I'm going to look that up because I'm curious. I feel like the slot is getting more shots. And I think that's because the 4 players, 4 out against 1 or 5 out, the 4s are not just stretch like in catch and shoot, but they're I call it a hybrid stretch 4. They can make decisions with the ball. We got a lot of players facing up that can make decisions, not just pop out and shoot it, but can get into the next action off the bounce with size. I think that's all good for the game. Those things trending in the right direction, I think, is part of the reason why 3-point shooting has gone up. And I'm here for that because I think that's entertaining. I love it.
Yeah, let that thing go. What do you say? Shoot till your arm falls off. That's your thing. Fire that
Amen.
thing.
That's the shirt I probably should have been wearing today. Shoot till your arm falls off. That's a real thing. I hate to say how long I've been saying that on the air, but I have been saying that a long time, probably 20 years. I mean, it's been a long time.
It's true. Why not? I mean, why not shoot it, right? It shows confidence. You've been working on that shot. It's not like you're not, that's not in your skill set. It's like, make that shot, 35.
Well, I'm looking at like the Indiana Fever. I've got the package in the Indiana Fever, like you have the package with the Mystics, and Aaliyah Boston's starting to shoot the three a little bit more. I mean, she's looking to space it a little bit, and I think that's a good thing when Boston and Smith can both shoot the three. I look at Tina Charles take some threes. Parkatias taking some threes in Chicago. You can just look at Stephanie Dolson shooting threes. You've got fours and fives. There's a lot of players that can make it.
Yep. And you love that. And the defense has to honor it. And that opens the floor up, right? So now you have to honor that. But now the quicker guards can rip and go and finish like the Kennedy Carter, right? You can open up the floor, get downhill and attack it and finish because of that great spacing you were just talking about. So.
Okay. So one more topic and then we'll be out of here. And that is we didn't get a chance to discuss the Cameron Brink injury. Obviously, we're all devastated. We were talking about Chelsea Gray's injury earlier, but De'Erica Hamby has been named her replacement on the 3-on-3 team. So while Cameron's not able to play, which we're very sorry for, and we send our best wishes to Cameron, what do you think about De'Erica being added to the team?
I love it. I love it for her. First of all, mom squad. She has 2 beautiful babies. So go mommy. But I just think she's just been playing terrifically this year. I think she's been so consistent in LA. But I also think for her, it's a great opportunity. I mean, she thinks quickly on the floor. She moves quickly on the floor. And I think the 3v3 style of play is just suited perfectly for her. I mean, she has wisdom and experience as a pro, but I think this is going to be a great opportunity for her to go over there and get a gold medal. She is a great defender. Yeah. She gets fast like crazy. She has a motor you're talking about. But I also think she's obviously on the offensive end. She's averaging almost 20 a game for LA. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity. But yeah, definitely. I saw the Cameron Brink game live, and it just did not look good initially. Non-contact, you never like to see that. And I was just devastated the next day to hear the results. And so just hopefully she is back and ready to go for next season, because she was out of the gates in an amazing way this year for the Sparks. So yeah, prayers to her for sure.
Yeah, I love De'Erica Hamby's game. I always thought she had a high motor. I mean, she played on those Wake Forest teams that didn't have as much talent around her, but she also was, active around the glass, very much like Angel. I mean, that's probably the best comparison in the league to me right now is Angel and De'Erica. And then once Angel, adds some length to her game away from the bucket, it's going to be really challenging to defend. And I think we're out, Christy. I think that's it. You got anything else? Are we good?
Oh man. Oh, I think that's it. I think that's it.
I've got 3 games this week on the West Coast. I'm looking forward to it. Then the 4th of July break. I know you're going to be on the hardwood somewhere, whether you're chasing your own kiddos around or you're calling games for the Mystics. But this Christy Winter-Scott, myself, Debbie Antonelli, her Hoops Stats podcast in episode 4. And this is Hoopin with Christy and Debbie. Thanks for sticking around with us. If you have any topics you want us to discuss, send them along. We'd be happy to do it. Good to see you, Christy.
Hi, good to see you. Love you.